Shocking discovery. How a humble single dad's amazing act saved a CEO's life in 24 hours. Jake pulled on his worn jacket, the fabric thick with the scent of grease and motor oil. Tonight, he was stepping into a world that felt foreign, one of crystal glasses and polished shoes. He glanced at his daughter, Lily. Her eager expression faded his persistent unease, forcing Jake to remind himself of why they were here, for her future. Yet as they walked into the gala, the noise swelled, a cacophony of laughter and clinking glasses that made his stomach twist. He was a mechanic, not a mingler. Surrounded by suits and dresses, Jake felt out of place. Their lives seemed to float while his feet were firmly on the ground, laden with responsibility. "Just be proud, Dad," Lily whispered as they entered the ballroom. Her encouragement stung. His pride wasn't enough to soothe the anxiety tightening his throat. He didn't fit in this world. Rich people with endless ambition made Jake question his worth. As he watched Lily chat with a classmate's parents, he felt a sudden pang of guilt. Should he have pushed for more? Better jobs? More connections? As memories of his father flooded in, his steadfast dedication and quiet integrity, Jake hesitated. He spotted Richard, the famous CEO, draped in a conversation about this charity's effectiveness. Jake despised the way Richard's dismissive tone cut through the room, belittling genuine efforts with a wave of his hand. Anger bubbled within him. The charity was for people who needed it, who cared. But Jake swallowed it down. Now wasn't the time for confrontation. He needed to focus on Lily. Somewhere across the room, she looked so comfortable, almost radiant. And then it happened. A sudden gasp pulled Jake from his thoughts. Richard clutched at his chest and crumbled to the floor like a rag doll. Panic shot through the room, and suddenly people were screaming for help. Time slowed to a crawl, the buzz replaced by a deafening silence in Jake's mind. His hands tingled with adrenaline and uncertainty. He dropped to Richard's side, instincts taking over. He tore off a belt, positioned chairs beneath the sprawled man's limbs, improvising a method to stabilize him. With hands that had once released tension from stubborn transmissions, now working on breathing life into a man he barely respected, Jake realized just how far he was willing to go to save another. An indomitable courage flared deep within him, but threads of doubt still weaved through his mind. Would his father be proud of this? As the sound of sirens surged closer, Jake felt eyes on him, an overwhelming pressure building. He stood amid the turmoil, caught in the wake of his own actions, a mechanic turned hero, but at what cost? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the paramedics lifted Richard onto a stretcher, Jake felt the whirlwind shift. The room buzzed with a different energy now. Admiration filled the air, wrapping around him like a new coat. Richard's gaze, once filled with condescension, flickered with something else. Respect? Gratitude? It made Jake itch with confusion. He didn't want this recognition. His father taught him humility. He wasn't born for the spotlight. Days passed and tides turned. Richard reached out to him with a tempting proposition, an opportunity veiled in gratitude. The chance to turn his mechanic skills into a business that could elevate Lily's life. But with the allure came a creeping suspicion. Was this the path his father would have carved for him? A worry gnawed at Jake's insides. In the shadows of this luminous possibility, integrity battled worldly success. He stared at the proposal, heart racing, torn between honoring his father's legacy and climbing to a place where he could give Lily everything he never had. A storm brewed inside him, and still it raged, unanswered. Jake sat at the cluttered kitchen table, staring at Richard's proposal, the paper crinkling under pressure from his clenched fist. The sunlight filtered through the grimy window, casting shadows on the walls that seemed to mock his indecision. Was he really ready to leap into a world that had always felt so daunting? His mind flickered between images. Him, grease-stained and scrappy, hoisting Lily onto his shoulders to watch the fireworks. And then his heart jumped to a different scene. A corner office overlooking a city skyline, complete with leather chairs and expensive suits. The juxtaposition gnawed him. Wasn't he just fine where he was? But Lily deserved more than just fine. She deserved a shot at the world beyond the garage, one without the constraints of his limitations. He could already envision her, laughing with her friends in a college dorm instead of waiting in the corner of a garage while her dad tinkered with a rust-covered engine. But could he allow himself to think that big? Jake took a deep breath and glanced at the clock, its hands ticking away the seconds of hesitation. Time was of the essence. Richard was waiting. The flicker of ambition tugged at him, yet the foundational teaching of his father held firm. Never sacrifice yourself for mere status. Just then, Lily burst into the room, her energy illuminating every corner. "Dad, let's play catch!" She was oblivious to his turmoil, a carefree joy that made Jake's heart swell. In her laughter, he found his reason once again, not just to survive, but to truly live and create opportunities for her. "Okay, Lil,
Give me a minute," he said. There was something in her eyes, an understanding that transcended words. Only moments spent together could convey that feeling of safety and connection. Jake quickly folded up the proposal and tucked it into the drawer, not entirely confident he was wise to dismiss it, but something, instinct, told him that rushing into Richard's world might change more than just his circumstances. It could warp the very essence of the person he had fought to be. He spent the afternoon playing in the fading light, the weight in his chest beginning to lift. But even amidst the laughter, the question lingered. How could he provide a better life while staying true to who he was? Each time he felt the urge to chase success, he pictured Richard's smug grin, and a wave of frustration rolled through him. He needed to talk to someone, get clarity. What would his father say? He could almost hear his father's voice, gentle but firm, reminding him to be present. That evening, Jake decided to visit his father's old workshop. The familiar scent of motor oil mixed with memories filled his lungs, grounding him in a way nothing else could. He ran his fingers over the tools he had grown up with, each one holding stories of lessons learned and skills honed. As he picked up a wrench, Jake recognized the hidden truth behind his own life experiences. What if he leveraged his passion for mechanics to not just scrape by, but to create? An automotive service center, combining his skills with a fresh approach, something people could trust and appreciate. Could he shift the narrative? Not merely a mechanic, but a local business owner, someone who could inspire others down the line, much like Richard promised, but in a way that resonated with his own values? Just as he began sketching plans in his mind, a thought struck him. What if he reached out to Richard with this alternate vision? But that would mean embracing the light of a world he had resisted. Jake felt excitement surge through him again, mixed with trepidation. The time had come to face the truth about himself. He would have to confront not only Richard, but his own fears of inadequacy. But would such a confrontation allow him to reclaim his narrative while forging a new future for Lily? As he stood amidst the echoes of the past, Jake realized this was just the beginning of a new chapter, and that resolve ignited something deep within him, stronger than before. It was time to transform doubt into purpose and craft the vision that could lead his life in a brave new direction. Determination set in motion, Jake picked up his phone, hesitated, and then typed out a message to Richard, ready to take the first step toward defining success on his own terms. But as he pressed send, a flicker of uncertainty twisted in his gut. He was diving into uncharted waters. What awaited him on the
other side? The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched across the workshop floor as Jake leaned against the counter, his message to Richard hanging in the air. The weight of the coming days pressed down on him, the echoes of his father's lessons swirling in his mind. He had spent years avoiding the kind of ambition Richard represented, hesitant to bring his dreams into focus. Now, with that one message sent, he found himself standing on the edge of a precipice, staring down at the unknown. What if Richard didn't take him seriously? What if he laughed at the idea of Jake as anything more than a wrench spinner? The skepticism gnawed at his resolve, fueling the doubt that had always lingered in the back of his mind. But even as uncertainty brewed, Jake found that he had something foundational at his back: desire. A raw, unyielding urge to build a life that would allow Lily the chances he never had. He decided to take a seat and pull out a paper, a dingy notepad that had seen better days but still felt comforting in his hands. He began jotting down a scrap of a business plan, a loose collection of his thoughts. A name floated to the surface: Jake's Garage. It had a ring to it, conveying familiarity and trust, the kind of place where customers would feel like family. He wrote about affordable services, community-oriented events, and even free workshops teaching kids about mechanics. Each bullet point emboldened him. Visions of a community hub filled his mind, customers coming in for not just car repairs, but for connection. The garage could bridge the gap between generations, fostering friendships and skills that would empower others. The thought of Lily helping him one day, tending to her own customers, sent warmth through him, dispelling the chill of self-doubt. The sound of a notification on his phone broke through his idyllic reverie. Richard had responded. "Let's meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm interested in your ideas." A rush of exhilaration and trepidation coursed through his veins. He was one meeting away from potentially reshaping everything he had once believed was out of his reach. Jake spent the night tossing and turning, his thoughts racing. He couldn't afford to fumble this chance. As the early hours crept in, he leapt from bed and started preparing for the meeting. He laid out his best shirt, the one he reserved for Lily's school events. Over breakfast, he pored over his notes, refining each detail with manic focus. Nervous energy propelled him, leaving little room for hesitation. As the clock approached 10 a.m., Jake stepped outside, the cool air refreshing against his skin. The drive to Richard's office felt transformative. Each passing mile a reminder of the stark contrast between his current life and the ambition he was working towards. The city skyline loomed in the distance, elegant and foreign, the realm Jake had so long avoided. Upon arriving, he stepped into the lobby of the impressive building. The sleekness of the decor put him on edge. He felt out of place, as if he were an intruder in a world crafted for someone else. But he steeled himself, straightening his posture. He was there to assert his vision and claim his purpose, not to diminish himself before Richard's corporate success. Just as he was about to be called into Richard's office, a voice from behind him caused him to turn. It was a mid-level executive Jake had seen at various events but barely knew. "Hey Jake, what brings you here?" There was familiarity in the casual manner, but the way the man looked him up and down hinted at condescension. "I'm just here to pitch an idea," Jake replied, keeping his voice steady, but insecurity tinged his words. The executive smirked, glancing back at Rich's office door. "Let's just hope it's more than just the heartwarming story of a mechanic with dreams, huh?" The comment jabbed at Jake. He was not just a mechanic. This was the moment where he would need to lay claim to his narrative. As the door opened and he stepped inside, he could feel the tremor in his chest. This was no longer just about himself. It was a chance to reshape his story and lay the groundwork for Lily's future. Yet he had no idea how that executive's sneering remark might impact his fragile resolve. Would it shake his confidence or solidify his determination? As the door closed behind him, Jake took a deep breath and reminded himself of what he was fighting for. The stakes had been raised. Now was the time for courage against all odds. Would he be able to convey his dreams, or would the shadows of doubt drown them out? Jake stepped into Richard's office, a space filled with polished furniture and framed accolades that spoke volumes of success.
He took a moment to ground himself, scanning the contours of the room, searching for a hint of empathy in the spotless surroundings. Richard sat behind an imposing desk, his face a mask of focus that belied any immediate warmth. "Jake, good to see you," Richard greeted, leaning back in his chair, arms crossed, suggesting a combination of interest and calculation. "I got your email. Tell me what you have in mind." Jake felt the weight of his dreams nestled within him. He opened his notepad, its pages filled with hurried scrawls formed through sleepless nights. Words that had once felt daunting now seemed like an armor he could don. "I've called it Jake's Garage," he began, trying to inject enthusiasm into his voice while taming the flicker of apprehension. "It's not just a repair shop, it's a place for community." He detailed his vision: affordable repairs, youth workshops to teach car maintenance, and a space that welcomed everyone. As he spoke, he noticed little nods of recognition from Richard, but the executive's expression remained inscrutable. Each point sparked a burgeoning belief in what he proposed, yet a nagging voice whispered concerns, a reminder of the executive's earlier smirk. "Interesting," Richard interjected, "but how do you plan to scale this? The market is competitive, and you'll need more than a heartwarming story to stand out." The directness of Richard's comment stung. Jake clenched his fists under the table, fighting the urge to retreat. This was his moment. "I believe that people connect to authenticity. If they feel at home, they'll choose me over larger corporations. It's about trust," he explained, feeling the heat of passion rise within him. Richard leaned forward slightly. "Trust, yes, but this is about numbers and projections. You have to think about the long haul." Jake flicked through the sheets in his notepad, seeking to back up his sincerity with statistics he barely understood. "I want to develop customer loyalty through service that's genuine. It's not just about fixing cars, it's about investing in people," he insisted, his voice gaining momentum. Richard leaned forward slightly. "Trust, yes, but this is about numbers and projections. You have to think about the long haul." Jake flicked through the sheets in his notepad, seeking to back up his sincerity with statistics he barely understood. "I want to develop customer loyalty through service that's genuine. It's not just about fixing cars, it's about investing in people," he insisted, his voice gaining momentum. He could see Richard's brow furrow slightly, signaling a shift. But then the executive's phone buzzed, breaking Jake's train of thought. Richard checked it, the spark of urgency in his eyes momentarily distracting. "I have to take this," he said, swiftly taking the call. The conversation that ensued became background noise, a reality check for Jake. He was riding the crest of a wave, but the undercurrent of self-doubt pulled at him dangerously. Why was he here? What could a mechanic like him offer against the steel and glass of corporate maneuvering? But just then, inspiration struck. He could weave a personal narrative into his proposal. As Richard concluded the call, Jake cleared his throat, determined. "I know I don't have the corporate pedigree, but I've spent years working with people in this community. I've seen firsthand how a genuine service can change lives. This isn't just business for me, it's my legacy for my daughter." Richard's expression shifted as the weight of Jake's declaration settled between them. The tension in the air felt like a tightrope stretched between the harsh realities of business and the emotional gravity of personal stakes. "Legacy, huh?" Richard mused, his brows drawn together thoughtfully. The corner of his mouth twitched up slightly, a hint of intrigue bubbling beneath his stony facade. "You think you can teach that to others?" Jake leaned in, feeling a fire ignite. "Absolutely. I want kids to understand mechanics, to have skills that empower them. If I can do that." But Richard cut him off. "It sounds great, but you're still missing the point about scalability." That pushback grounded Jake. He needed to pivot. "What if I partnered with local schools for workshops? We could reach broader audiences that would drive early engagement." The moment hung in the air, tension shifting like quicksand. Jake felt the urgency building within him. Could this be the breakthrough moment he sought? Richard's eyes sparkled momentarily with the glint of newfound evaluation. Now that's a thought worth considering. But just as
Excitement swelled. It was punctured by the weight of the executive's impending skepticism, reminding Jake that securing Richard's belief was just the first step in a long journey. Jake remained steadfast. Would the tides turn in his favor, or would Richard's concern dismantle the fragile structure of hope he had just built? With each question rattling about in his mind, Jake prepared for the battle ahead, praying that perseverance and heart would guide him through the shadows of doubt looming just beyond the door. The moment had come, and he knew it was time to either flourish or fracture. The air hung thick after Richard's words, and Jake felt an electric jolt course through him. This was the moment when everything could change or risk unraveling. He had fought so hard to be here, and now all he could think about was not just proving himself, but also feeling that burning urgency to solidify his vision into reality. Workshops, Jake repeated thoughtfully, reaching deep to draw out clarity. What if we integrate hands-on experience? Let students get their hands dirty while fixing actual cars in the shop. They'll learn mechanics, but also teamwork, responsibility, skills that transcend just fixing engines. The words flowed from him like a second nature. He was building more than a business. He was knitting threads of potential into the very fabric of his community. Richard leaned back, still actively maintaining that air of calculated interest. But you'd need a solid structure to put that program in place, resources, both human and financial. Each syllable dripped with skepticism, as if the executive was highlighting parallel hurdles Jake hadn't fully accounted for. But within Jake, doubt thrummed alongside determination. I could approach automotive companies for sponsorships and supplies. They would be eager to build good community relations. Why not leverage that? He hurried to pencil down his thoughts, rallying confidence toward a proposal that could one day extend far beyond himself. Richard's brow lifted, just slightly. You're talking about intricate networking. It's more than just charm and idealism. These companies won't just back any project. The executive's tone pierced, yet persisted. More than mere potential, he was demanding pragmatism. Can you deliver results? How could Jake encapsulate the essence of authenticity while confronting such formidable questions? It was a balancing act that caused his heart to race. The stakes were suddenly not just about securing Richard's approval, but proving that he could indeed deliver credibility. A leap beyond the assumption that his ideas were fiction-laden dreams. With each tick of Richard's immaculate watch, the tension in the room burgeoned. I understand the mechanics, Jake replied, both to himself and Richard, but there's a deeper mechanism here. The lives I can touch, helping others see their potential while also creating a viable business model. The words ignited something inside him. He was not just selling a vision, he was embodying the purpose fueling that vision. Let me ask you, Richard, Jake began, catching the exec off guard. How did you get where you are? What fueled your journey? Was it just tactics, or was it the connections you forged? The question hung between them as Richard's guarded demeanor flickered momentarily. A warmer, less guarded glint peeked through. The instant was fleeting, but Jake felt the hinges of perception loosening. Richard shifted in his chair, looking for a response as if Jake had breached a fortress with a simple question. Every successful endeavor is just a series of small, connected wins, Richard responded cautiously. But this is business. If you aim for a partnership, you must function in their reality. Then let's collaborate, Jake proposed, the energy between them morphing into synergy. I know this area. I know the schools. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work. I just need your support in ideas and resources. As Richard reconsidered, the tension morphed into a palpable enthusiasm. Yet Jake felt a flicker of fear in the back of his mind. Was he asking too much, too soon? Had he ventured too far as he stepped into untested waters? I like your drive, but remember, every connection can lead to potential complications, Richard warned, his voice low but intense. Each business decision had unforeseen consequences, and Jake felt the gravity of that could either look like a safety net or a trap. Just then, a memory from past conversations with his daughter flashed crisply through his mind. The stories they used to craft together, where every obstacle was merely a stepping stone. If his idea could gain life and empower others, then he owed it to himself and her to fully embrace this path. Let's draft a formal proposal, something that highlights our plan, projected figures, and the impact on the community. I will come prepared to show that I mean business, Jake affirmed, determination converging with clarity of purpose. As they wrapped up the meeting, Jake felt a rush of hope, but that underlying anxiety still pulled at him, asking whether he had truly measured the depth of this leap. He would need strength, resourcefulness, and perhaps something he had yet to fully understand about his capabilities. Unbeknownst to him, a significant twist awaited, one that would not only challenge his resolve, but reshape everything he thought he understood about growth and connection. As he walked away from Richard's office, Jake's heart raced with the notion that tomorrow would unveil a revelation. Would it empower him or shake the foundations he had just begun to build? The next morning, the sun battled its way through the clouds as Jake spent his commute dissecting every detail of the proposal he envisioned. His fingers drummed against the steering wheel, a rhythm that accompanied a whirlwind of thoughts he struggled to contain. He had laid out a plan, but now it needed depth and precision. Every moment was critical, and the weight of expectations hung around him like an invisible cloak of urgency. Arriving at the local cafe, he grabbed a corner table where he could piece together his ideas uninterrupted. The aroma of brewed coffee swirled in the air, mingling with his growing focus. He needed to articulate not just what he wanted to do, but also prove he could make it happen. Today would be about strategy, crafting specifics, numbers, and a tangible vision to swipe away Richard's doubts. Flipping open his notebook, he jotted down key points: mentorship programs, potential partnerships, projected costs. Success wouldn't merely rest in enthusiasm, but also in his ability to demonstrate how every dollar and hour spent would translate into tangible benefits, both for the students and potential sponsors. The countdown to Richard's scrutiny loomed in his mind, and Jake knew that every bullet point must stand tall against his uncertainties. He paused, his pen hovering in the air as a thought struck him. What if he infused personal stories, testimonials from people who would benefit from the program? Stories had a way of connecting people. They could breathe life into statistics, crafting a narrative that painted him as more than just an entrepreneur, but also as a community advocate. Would sharing these tales help Richard see their project through the lens of humanity instead of mere dollars? Lost in contemplation, he felt a slight chill ripple through him. The room grew buzzing with morning chatter, but within it, Jake sensed a potential storm on the horizon. Richard was a tough critic, no doubt, and inadvertently a catalyst in bringing this dream to fruition. He racked his brain to recall pivotal moments in his life that had shaped his resolve and aspirations. His daughter's laughter, their shared dreams, moments of failure that felt unbearable at the time. Those hard times had illuminated a path toward his present ambitions. Maybe, just maybe, if he shared the roots of his motivation, Richard could become an ally rather than a skeptic. With a newfound clarity, Jake finalized his notes, a determined fire igniting in his chest. He envisioned arriving at Richard's office not just to present numbers, but to unleash an authentic piece of himself. He would demonstrate that the stakes ran deeper than spreadsheets. They were intertwined with lives hoping for a change. As he concluded his planning session, a mayday call from his phone pulled him from his thoughts. A number he didn't recognize. Curious, he answered. The voice on the other end was urgent, strained. "Mr. Keller, we need you to come to the dealership. There's been an incident with one of our cars, an engine failure leading to a crash at the repair shop. We need someone with your experience, as soon as possible." Jake's pulse quickened. Embracing challenges had always been easy when it involved engines and spanners. Now, it veered into unknown territory infused with real danger. Yet, he recognized the gravity of the situation. If he could step in and assist now, it could buy him credibility and further connections. A chance to prove his worth and showcase the knowledge he had demonstrated just days ago. He slipped out of the cafe, urgency propelling him toward his truck. Perhaps this twist of fate might open unexpected doors, and maybe he could leverage the situation into insights beneficial for Richard's proposal. As the dealership loomed in the distance, Jake's mind raced with a blend of excitement and anxiety. Would he be ready to handle what awaited him? And could he turn this incident into a stepping stone for his aspirations? With each twist of the road, Jake felt the stakes climbing, not just for himself, but for those he might be able to help. And fundamentally, he was now on the precipice of an unexpected revelation that would push his self-discovery journey further than he had ever imagined. Jake pulled into the cramped parking lot of the dealership, where a crowd of technicians and onlookers had gathered near the service bay. The once bustling atmosphere now crackled with tension, punctuated by the anxious whispers that floated through the air. As he stepped out of the truck, he felt the weight of his own apprehension deepen. Would he truly be able to contribute meaningfully, or would he find himself drowning in circumstances he couldn't control? Navigating through the throngs, he honed in on the repair bay where the commotion originated. Inside, a car lay ominously still, its hood propped open as mechanics scurried around like bees in a hive. Jake's mind darted back to the proposals, because now it was about more than just numbers. Lives were inextricably intertwined with decisions being made here. One moment of clarity settled over him. Failure could mean far more than a lost contract. It could threaten someone's safety and future. "Mr. Keller!" A familiar face emerged from the chaos. It was Leo, the lead mechanic, his eyes wide with concern. "Glad you made it. We need to assess the engine failure quickly. It's not just any ordinary breakdown. There might be serious implications for the driver." Jake approached the vehicle, summoning the expertise that had fueled countless nights in the workshop. As he examined the damaged engine components, he could feel the specter of doubt creeping in. What if he missed something critical? What if the driver was still in danger? With every examination, every thought, he kept pushing against the tidal wave of uncertainty that threatened to submerge him. "This part here," he declared, pointing out the cracked cylinder head, "is where the failure originated. If we don't resolve this immediately, not only will it lead to further damage, but it might also affect the car's operational integrity." Leo nodded, appreciation mingled with urgency etched into his features. "We might need to call in an outside specialist if we're going to order parts to fix it, but you're spot on." The clock was ticking, and Jake felt the pressure mount, not just as a mechanic, but as a person desperate to make an impact. He initiated a series of swift discussions with the team, focusing on gathering resources, strategizing how to expedite the repairs, and, poignantly, prioritizing the driver's safety. As he communicated his strategies, he sensed a growing respect from Leo and the others, as they began to recognize his value beyond mere knowledge. It stemmed from a genuine desire to make things right. But amidst the productivity, a chilling realization crept through Jake's mind. He could be standing in the way of something larger, something that echoed into his aspirations for the proposal with Richard. The success of this incident could elevate him, lend him credibility. Conversely, if something went wrong, it could tear down everything he had been building. Moments later, the dealer's manager approached, catching Jake off guard. "We're all counting on you to lead this, Keller. It's not just the car at stake. There's a lot of trust and reputation wrapped up in this situation. Show us what you can do." The weight of the challenge crashed down. Jake's immediate response was self-doubt, but he quickly redirected that energy into strategic planning. This was not just a moment to prove himself in the eyes of Richard. It was a crucial component of his professional journey. What if he could combine this unforeseen challenge with the proposal? Real-life stories of human connection and ethical responsibility could amplify the vision he sought to convey. As the team launched into action, Jake realized he was not merely participating in a repair task, he was cultivating relationships, earning respect, and revealing the core of his character. Each decision propelled him closer to understanding that his role transcended technical ability. He was becoming a leader, a pivotal figure in potentially saving not just a vehicle, but the trust of the community. But as they raced against time, a sharp yell erupted from outside the service bay, sending a wave of panic rolling through the crowd. Jake's heart sank. Something was wrong, and whatever uncertainty he had previously felt paled in comparison to the epiphany crashing into him. He stepped through the doorway, the air thick with tension, and braced himself for the unforeseen chaos that awaited. In this moment, he peeled back layers of his own identity, ready to confront not just the crisis at hand, but the deeper revelations hidden within. Would he rise to the challenge, or would the pressure crack him open? What lay ahead could redefine everything he had been striving for. The chaos loomed larger than life as Jake pushed through the crowd, adrenaline spiking with each step. Outside the service bay, the source of the commotion was revealed. An injured man, sprawled on the ground, clutching his chest, eyes wide with fear. It was a sharp contrast to the mechanical puzzles within the repair shop. This was raw, vulnerable humanity that called for immediate action beyond tools and expertise. Jake's mind raced. He had been trained to tackle cars, not cardiopulmonary crises. But the urgency was palpable and tangible. This was about saving someone's life, a mission far more profound than any professional responsibility he had ever faced. Instinct overrode his formal training. "Get an ambulance!" he shouted, drawing attention. He knelt beside the man, scanning for vital signs while attempting to maintain a calm exterior. "Stay with me," Jake urged, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. The man's breathing was shallow, and Jake placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Deep within him, familiarity bloomed, a shared human experience that transcended the confines of mechanical failure. "Help is on the way. You're going to be okay." The murmurs of the onlookers transformed into a collective gasp. Jake felt the weight of their stares, a confluence of expectations and apprehensions resting on his shoulders. This was more than a moment for self-doubt. It was a crucible moment, a chance to either define himself or dissolve under pressure. A few steps back, Leo had taken charge, directing the other technicians to clear a path and assist in whatever way they could. Inspired by the urgency, Jake absorbed the swirling chaos around him, imbibing each decision-making moment. Leo's steadfastness urged him onward, awakening a stronger sense of authority within. Maybe leading in this battle did not just mean managing tools and parts. It could also mean guiding those through the tempest of life itself. As sirens wailed in the distance, Jake's focus sharpened. He shifted his attention to calm breathing techniques he'd learned in his own experiences, waiting out the turmoil inflicted by life's chaotic hands. "Just breathe, in and out," he coached, attempting to establish a rhythmic pattern while searching for any concealed trauma. Gradually, the man's breathing began to stabilize, a testament to the tenuous link forged between them in those seconds fraught with uncertainty. Hope replaced despair, but a lingering doubt crept in. What if this was a momentary solution? What if the paramedics arrived too late? Doubts gnawed at him painfully, but he pushed them aside, redirecting that energy toward unwavering resolve. In the chaos, Jake glimpsed Richard approaching. He moved with urgency, but his expression betrayed confusion and concern. It hit Jake. This wasn't just an opportunity to enhance his proposal. It was a pivotal moment that could reframe his relationship with Richard, transforming the way he viewed not just leadership, but responsibility in their shared world. When the paramedics arrived, Jake willingly transitioned from the front line to the sidelines, allowing professionals to take over. But as he stepped back, basking in the reverberation of what had just occurred, it wasn't fear or second-guessing that greeted him. It was an emerging layer of confidence. He could navigate pressure effectively. This experience had prompted a shift, an awakening that went beyond the mechanics of his work. As the ambulance sped off, Jake turned to Leo, who stood beside him, eyes full of respect. "You did well," Leo affirmed, clapping a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Realization dawned on Jake. He hadn't just saved a life, he had reshaped his own into a vessel of action and decisiveness. Yet, amidst the applause and newfound respect, a gnawing question interrupted the victory. How would this moment affect the tide of his professional aspirations? Would Richard now see him as more than a candidate for that proposal, but as someone capable of leading not just within the realm of mechanics, but as a person with depth and conviction? With the day's revelations still fresh, as Jake looked at the remnants of the day's chaos, he understood that some moments could either build bridges or dismantle them entirely. He was at a crossroads, but it was a place where clarity mingled with uncertainty. How would he navigate this new landscape? The real challenge now awaited him. Would he build upon this newfound confidence to redefine his professional narrative? Or would he retreat to the safety of his former self, vanishing into the comfortable shadows of self-doubt? Only time would unveil the answer as Jake prepared to confront his next formidable obstacle. Days passed since the incident, yet the echoes of that chaotic moment lingered in Jake's mind, shaping his every thought and action. At the repair shop, he found himself grappling with the newfound respect he'd earned from his colleagues, particularly Richard. Just days ago, the two shared only a professional rapport. Now there was an unspoken acknowledgement of potential, his potential. Meanwhile, Jake's mind was a whirlwind of mixed emotions. He'd faced the edge of life and death, experienced the urgency of human connection, and emerged unscathed, yet transformed. The applause from his peers felt both gratifying and burdensome. The newfound authority that bloomed within him was heady, intoxicating. Yet, as he tightened bolts and calibrated engines, the weight of expectation began to smother his confidence. What if he failed to live up to this moment? What if his next misstep shattered their trust? That Saturday morning, as sunlight filtered through the shop windows, Jake recognized he had to confront these worries. He decided on a daring course of action, an informal meeting with Richard, a chance to bridge the gap that had once felt insurmountable. The thought both thrilled and terrified him. This meeting could be the catalyst for his professional aspirations or a humbling reminder of his limitations. Jake spent his lunch break rehearsing what he would say, pacing the dimly lit corner of the shop. "Talk about the proposal, make it clear you're ready to lead," he coached himself. But the words felt clumsy, difficult to articulate. He wanted to convey not just his ideas, but his recently ignited passion for leadership. He envisioned guiding his team through rough waters, just as he did for the injured man. When the clock struck 1, he found Richard in his office, papers scattered chaotically on the desk. Richard glanced up as Jake knocked lightly, inviting him to take a seat. The air hung thick with impending confrontation as an assortment of unspoken thoughts buzzed between them. "So, Jake," Richard began, folding his hands, "I've heard quite a bit about what happened the other day. You handled that situation remarkably well." "Thanks, Richard," Jake replied, trying to sound composed. "It taught me something. Responsibility can extend beyond our daily tasks. I'm committed to leading projects that matter, not just to us, but to the people we serve." Richard's gaze shifted, curiosity apparent. This was Jake's moment, the chance to reframe his narrative. "I believe we can do more, push the envelope further. I want to take on the proposal we discussed, lead it, and incorporate that urgency I felt during the emergency. It's not just about cars, it's about people, their lives, and how our work impacts them." Silence enveloped the room as Richard leaned back in his chair, assessing. Jake's heart raced. Had he overstepped? But in that silence, he noticed a flicker of interest in Richard's eyes. There was a shift occurring, an opportunity unfolding. However, Richard's demeanor changed abruptly. "You realize leading requires more than just passion, Jake. It demands decisiveness and sometimes difficult choices. Are you ready for that?" Jake felt a chill at Richard's words. Was he really ready to stand at those crossroads? I know it isn't easy, but I see now that true leadership is about making those choices, supporting others, and facing challenges head-on. Then let's see if that conviction holds up under pressure, Richard offered, a hint of a challenge in his tone. The exchange lit a fire in Jake's chest. If there's a project to lead, I want to prove I can do it. I want to build something that reflects our commitment to excellence. Very well then, Richard nodded. You've got your chance. Show me what you can do. As Jake exited Richard's office, adrenaline surged through him. What had started as anxiety transformed into determination. He was stepping into a realm filled with uncertainty, but for the first time, it felt exhilarating. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was on the cusp of becoming a leader. Moments later, back in the repair shop, Jake's heart pounded with expectation and doubt. He knew challenges lay ahead, but he also sensed growth, an opportunity to transform his experiences into something meaningful. Burdened yet empowered, his mind whirred with plans and visions, setting the stage for what lay ahead. But would he measure up under Richard's scrutiny? And what challenges awaited him in crafting this vision into a concrete reality? The answers loomed just out of reach, waiting like a storm on the horizon. Jake stood at the entrance of Jake's Garage, a name that had once been a fleeting idea, but was now a vibrant reality. The sun poured through the large windows, illuminating the space filled with buzz and activity. Mechanics were engaged with customers, ensuring that every car received not just service, but a touch of genuine care, something he had fought to achieve. His heart swelled with pride as he reflected on how far he had come. Only months ago, he was toying with the notion of stepping out of his comfort zone, torn between his humble beginnings and the allure of a corporate world that felt foreign. He had built something from the ground up, a community hub where people gathered not only for car repairs, but also for connection and empowerment. With a steady hand, he examined the critical successes of the past month. The workshops for local youth had filled up, with students not only learning basic car maintenance, but also developing essential life skills. Each session culminated in smiles and laughter. As he reviewed the financials, he noted a steady increase in revenue, leading to a tangible acknowledgement of growth. Reports from customers cited new loyalty, and even Richard had recognized the impact, praising Jake for fostering a new standard in the industry. Richard had become a steadfast ally, often dropping by to see how things were progressing. Their meetings evolved beyond mere professional obligations into collaborative sessions, brainstorming how to further intertwine community upliftment with business objectives. Richard once asked Jake how he viewed success, and Jake had articulated a truth that resonated within him. Success is not just numbers or accolades, but nurturing genuine relationships that uplift us all. But today wasn't solely about what Jake had built. No, today was personal redemption. He glanced at the invitation in his hand, an award ceremony recognizing outstanding local businesses and community impact. It was surreal. He had been nominated for the Local Business Innovation Award. This was not just a trophy, it was validation of his journey, an affirmation that he had created something worthwhile. As he made his way to the venue, he thought of how he had once hesitated to step into boardroom meetings dressed in a suit, feeling unworthy amid polished executives. Yet here he was, comfortable in his skin, in a smart shirt and jeans, ready to embrace his accomplishments. The fear that once gripped him had been replaced with newfound confidence, and he was prepared to face whatever came next. The ceremony hall was bustling, decorated with elegant banners and vibrant flowers. As Jake entered, whispers of admiration coursed through the crowd. The event MC called for attention, and the atmosphere shifted tense with anticipation. As they reached the business category, a wave of nerves surged through him. Would they recognize the work he had accomplished with Jake's Garage? And the award for local business innovation goes to Jake Keller for Jake's Garage. Recognition filled his chest as the applause resounded, drowning out any lingering doubts. He could hardly believe it. As he stepped onto the stage, his heart raced, But this time, instead of fear, it was exhilarating. The moment felt monumental, not just personally, but professionally. With a microphone in hand, he shared his journey. When I started this shop, it was not just about fixing cars. It was about creating a space where people could come together, learn, and grow. Many nights, doubt kept me awake. Would I measure up? But with every leap into the unknown, I discovered pieces of myself I hadn't known existed: passion, leadership, and resilience. The audience was captivated, and as he finished speaking, the loud cheers and applause echoed through the hall. Jake stepped down from the stage amidst congratulatory handshakes, feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over him. Unbeknownst to him, Richard stood at the back of the room, pride bubbling in his expression. It was a validation not only of Jake's business, but of Jake himself, a testament to the realization that he was capable of greatness. As the evening wound down, Jake took a moment to reflect on how every step along the way, each moment of self-doubt, each instance of vulnerability had guided him here. He had cultivated a community, a business, and a reputation. He returned home to Lily, who beamed with pride as he showed her the award. "You did it, Dad!" she exclaimed, her enthusiasm igniting a spark deep within him. He had triumphed, not just by accolades, but by redefining his existence in a profound way. This was his achievement, a transformation from humble beginnings into a recognized leader. No longer the mechanic merely squeezing by, Jake Keller was now a business owner, shaping community futures and instilling hope in the next generation. And as he tucked Lily into bed, he realized that success was not merely personal. It was a journey he would share, teaching his daughter to chase her dreams relentlessly. The night was calm, and as Jake lay awake, he marveled at the reality before him. A life constructed through determination and belief, a testament to the fact that everything he had fought for was not just possible, but real. If that wasn't achievement, he didn't know what was. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm, and comment your reactions and theories about this incredible conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting our channel through these actions.